Hello, everybody. I'm Jeremy, owner operator of Green 13 for 15 years. Third generation auctioneer and dealer of antiques and collectibles for over 30 years.
We are Lysandra and Tony from ilovediscounts_com with 20 years of experience across brick and mortar, Amazon, eBay, and whatnot. We have built, broken, and rebuilt resale businesses, so you don't have to.
Hi, I'm Tracy, a CPA with over 30 years of audit and tax experience and have worked with businesses in various industries. I am also a seller on Whatnot, eBay, and Etsy.
Welcome to Reselling Roundtable.
Welcome to the Reselling Roundtable, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. Today we get to go through the fun topic of, I guess our title is Are Sellers Destroying Their Margins for Instant Payout? And I'm going to be pretty blunt about this one. Yes, and more. Um, it's not just instant payout. It's actual foundational and principled growth that will benefit exponentially in the future that people are sacrificing. My personal opinion, I believe people are essentially sacrificing a current need for a want. This is a principle found in, as far as, I like to, if everybody knows, I like to talk about behavioral economics, behavioral sciences, and stuff like that. It's what's called a bounded willpower, and it also has attributes of what I call, or what is called hyperbolic discounting. In my opinion, people are looking at this from a perspective of why are people trying to get to this 1,000 point sales number, which is what it is that we're talking about on Whatnot, reaching 1,000 items sold in order to get instant payout, and people are utilizing shortcut mechanisms in order to accomplish this. And I believe they're doing this at the expense of building principled growth as opposed to trying to do what they want. Like, essentially, what are we doing this for? Why are people doing it? They're doing it in order to get money. I mean, that's your need. Like, people are trying to shortcut it because they need the money out of it. And the wantonness that they're sacrificing that need to accomplish the want, I believe, is because they want to sell on this platform. It's a social environment that they enjoy. I think is a large lifting attribute to why people are doing this. There are a ton of other places. There are a ton of other things people could be doing in order to accomplish the need of the financial resources, which is what I'm going, when we talk further on this, is what I'm going to kind of engage towards, because building your structural foundation is your true path to success on any business endeavor. And sacrificing that in order to just get some quick cash for something you actually need in life is not going to provide you with what you want or what you actually need in order to be successful on this platform. So I'm going to keep going through here. I have a couple notes that I wrote down. I'm going to go through that and then we'll open it for discussion. I have down here that social engagement over a sustainable long-term business growth, which is what I was just talking about. The other interesting thing is this: the 1,000 sales goal from Whatnot. This is why they put it in there. Acts as a psychological anchor designed to keep sellers trapped in the platform's ecosystem through artificial goals. Okay, the 1,000 point attribute, the 1,000 items sold attribute, is basically an artificial goal. There's no super 100% need for Whatnot to have that there, and it does exactly that. It creates their own internal sunken cost fallacy attributes where you are trying to get to that. So you basically discount and ignore all the outside other potential possibilities you could be doing in order to get your money. I shouldn't, I'm going to rephrase that. I think the 1,000 sale goal is a good thing in certain things, and I know we're going to be discussing that. I don't want to go into all the different applications for the 1,000 sales goal for the benefit of whatnot, because we'll touch on those. And then the immediate hit of social validation keeps people completely blind to the long-term financial drain that happens as a result of going after it. And again, they're sacrificing long-term value for immediate cash flow because they enjoy the platform's social environment. So to bring it back to my main argument, I think that's essentially what people are doing in order to do this. And I think what ends up happening, people don't understand, is if you start off on the bad footing, you're basically, once you reach that goal, then what do you do? If you're doing it outside of what your normal business plan would have been, you're going to be starting over again. And if you can't see the fact that that is costing you more money in the long term just from that single attribute, you are truly just stuck in some other element that you are sacrificing in order to accomplish that. And I still think the main thing that they're after is the one, because of the social attributes that whatnot and live selling platforms bring. So there's my my little broad synopsis of my opinion.
One of you two. Well, I feel like it's safe to go male, female at this point.
Knock yourself
That's
out.
very sexist of you.
Whatever.
That's his way of saying,
I'm
I don't want to
offended.
go next.
Oh, okay, I'll go. So really my question is why did they pick 1,000 sales, do you think? Why do you think it's a
Are you
1,000?
asking the question?
Why isn't it 2,000? And there's in reality, it's not hard to hit 1,000 sales on whatnot at all. Dollar start all your stuff. You might lose money, but if
Or not? That's completely against what Jeremy just said.
or you might not. But if your intention is not to do dollar starts after the 1,000 sales, then I think on the long term you're hurting yourself because you're building a customer base that is going to then leave you after that 1,000 sales. If you're selling stickers to get to that 1,000 sales, what does that do for you? Absolutely nothing. And it's funny, and I'm gonna call you out on this because
Here we go.
it's come up in the podcast before. But we watched a seller that discounted her stickers to 90% off, which is what 10 cents a
cents.
piece,
10 cents.
which means she was losing 23 cents or whatever on each sticker she sold. And Tony's comment was, if your goal is to get to 1,000 sales and instant payout, that's a cheap way to do it.
Okay.
Hey,
Are you done?
I'm gonna just throw something out there. The
Wait,
answer
don't take my
is-
words. Go ahead.
Okay. Knock
Listen.
yourself out.
Okay. Number
I'll come
one.
to your defense.
I know
Sorry.
you were. I know. Watch this. Number one, let me defend that. If your goal is to get to 1,000 sales first, as quickly as possible, and you don't mind the marketing spend of 90% off stickers with free shipping and you're okay with the cost associated with it, knock your socks off. However, if your business after that 1,000 isn't selling stickers, I'm going to revert back to Jeremy's comments. Why are you even bothering? Because you just built a business on selling 1,000 stickers for 10 cents. And how many stickers will you sell after the fact for $3? Because you just sold 1,000 of them for 10 cents to lose money. So that's totally fine. What I will say is I don't agree with it. I thought it was an interesting way to get to 1,000 quickly. And if that was my business, I probably would have done something similar if I was struggling to get to 1,000, because that's an easy way to get there. And that was kind of a fun show where she was selling 10-cent stickers. She made it fun and it was interesting. But what I will say is, we asked about why is it 1,000? Why isn't it 2,000? I think most sellers who are on Whatnot Live on a regular basis can get to 1,000 sales relatively quickly. Obviously, it depends on what you're selling, what your costs are, those types of things. But I think 1,000 sales is a good gauge from Whatnot's point for a seller to learn the app, to learn how to navigate the app, to learn all of the functions of running a live show, to run the functions of shipping the show. And that gives a seller a good amount of time, unless you blow through it like we did with dollar starts. And I mean, how long did it take us to hit 1,000 sales? A couple of weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. But normally it's going to take you a couple of months if you're regularly on and you sell a decent amount of product in your shows. But my theory is that it is a good length of time to learn all of the functions of being a seller. Now, why would you hold out instant payouts to learn the functions of being a good seller? So maybe they want to make sure that you're going to stick around and not be a little fly by night. Come in, sell your 2,000 items as quick as possible, get your money, not ship the things out and roll on, which is entirely possible, but not if they're holding the money until it gets delivered. There's a thought. Go ahead, Tracy.
I have a question for you. So I quit counting around the fifth time I heard it, but you said quick or quickly, at least 5 times.
Uh-huh.
Why do they need to get there quickly?
Why do they need to get there quickly? Well, again, I feel like it's a good gauge. The 1,000 mark is a good gauge to learn the app. That's what I think it's there for, right? Is to learn the application and learn all the functionality and learn how to sell. Quickly is just going to come naturally. I don't feel anybody needs to get there quickly. I think you just do it in the natural course of selling. If you're starting Whatnot today and you're going to be live 5 days a week you're going to hit 1,000 sales probably within a month or a month and a half, right? It's just going to naturally occur. Ooh, sorry, can't speak. I don't necessarily see there's a need for it to be quickly. And if that's what it was sounding like I was saying, I apologize. That's not what I mean at all.
I think because that's where my thought is that there seems to be this general misconception that sellers should get there as fast as they can. That seems to be what's pushed in many talk shows, what's pushed as a general like societal thing on Whatnot. And that's the problem, in my opinion. That's where the problem lies, is that there is, if it truly is, because I also heard you say it's to teach them how to be a seller, which I 100% agree with your point on that. It's to teach them how to work the app, how to sell, how to ship, to have some skin in the game before Whatnot just starts handing out some money. So makes complete sense from a business perspective on Whatnot side. It's like, hey, have some skin in the game before I just give you your money. And I think that's where the problem lies, is trying to get there quickly, which then the next underlying problem, in my opinion, is a foundational problem of people have zero business knowledge and they're living paycheck to paycheck or show to show. And that's the only way that they know how to operate, which is not setting themselves up for success as a business whatsoever. So I just think the whole from day one, so many sellers are coming into this just with this huge misconception, and they're spending those first 1,000 sales doing nothing at all beneficial for their business. I mean, they're selling, they're doing some stuff, but as far as laying down a strong foundation to really carry them through after the 1,000, I don't think it's there. And I think as a community, there's a lot of people that are enforcing just hurry up instead of build a business, build a business, build a business.
Look,
So,
we picked
go
the
ahead.
topic we all agree on again.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I do want to say
We're
from the
gonna
comment.
We're gonna have some pushback in the comments.
Yeah. I know, but
feel free to.
I'm gonna throw something out there real quick. Unless you want to start reading questions already, I know we have a backlog of questions, and we'll obviously get to it.
Nope, go
I
for
don't
it.
read those until we have some discussion, and sometimes we might hit some of the points that people are asking. But anytime a platform puts out a goal like this, it becomes an engagement attribute. Like I said earlier, it's an anchor that they create, and somebody's going to try to reach it. And whenever you have a goal, what do people try to do with goals? They try to reach them as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
And that's where the mental exercise comes into place, where unless you actually sit down and write out what, to Tracy's point, like, this is what my goals are for Whatnot as a whole, um, should not involve reaching that as quickly as possible. You should discount that artificial goal that is set there by Whatnot, for a magnitude of reasons. One is to create that link that you're stuck in and focus on, but the other is exactly what you're saying, Tony, for people to get used to being on Whatnot. And if the latter, what I'm saying is the truth, people keep loopholing and trying to rush through it. Whatnot knows that people aren't experienced in all the attributes they're looking for, and also they're going to know themselves that it's not giving people fundamentally anchored principles, and that's going to leave a bad taste in the mouth of many sellers when they reach that, and then they're like, okay, I'm starting over, things are harder, I'm still not getting to where I want to, and they're continuously complaining. You have people that are on for like 6, 8, 10, 12 months that are like, I don't know how to get this accomplished. Well, you just spent a month to 3 months of that time trying to get to 1,000 point to getting 1,000 sales, which is the a bad goal to go after. You weren't building all the actual attributes you need to have a successful business here on a live selling platform. And if that continues, Whatnot will change eventually to be
Oh,
more of a,
100%.
they'll change from having it 1,000 sales to you need way more shows under your belt. So it doesn't even, it'll be like, okay, you need, 30 shows with 500 sales, but we really want you to get used to being on the platform selling as opposed to this simple metric. I mean, how do you loophole that? I
Yep.
mean, well, other than time, but they'll attribute like you have to have
2 second
31
shows.
hour
Yep.
shows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll cover their bases
You'll
on that. I'm
you'll
not
need
worried. Don't
25 hours of live or
don't.
something.
I'm not worried about the attributes of covering their bases, whether you're trying to do private shows to accomplish it or whatever. There will always be people trying to loophole their way through it. And that brings you back to the whole loophole fallacy, where if you're trying to loophole your way through, that's a self destructive principle to building a business. You're just going to constantly be looking for new loopholes to get yourself around things that if you just set out properly from the beginning, you wouldn't have to constantly worry about. You wouldn't have to keep trying to figure out how to get around this and weave and dodge that, this, that, and the other thing. So, yeah, it's. I know I'm looking forward here to hearing what people have to say, but getting stuck in that, and I know it's also, to me, people need to sit down and be honest with themselves. Like, am I really trying to get to that because I need the instant payout because I need the money, and that's unhealthy. No matter which
Agreed.
way you slice it, that is completely unhealthy to building. And let's not use the word business. And you guys know I've had this. Let's avoid the business. It's then revenue or money that you need in your pocket for whatever financial needs that there may be. The principles still apply. It's all the same thing. So we can go to questions if everyone's waiting to
Well,
jump into those, because it looks
So
I
like
don't think
they're
Lysandra
there.
got to
I'm not
talk
reading
very
them.
much yet. I mean, she a little bit,
yeah,
but
so I wanted to point out something in the chat that I didn't realize Whatnot put a stop to sticker sales counting towards 1,000. And if
oh,
so,
really?
Have they?
I'm curious in what way they put a stop, because then what about your legitimate sticker people that are starting on the app?
I think maybe they were referring to like the the sticker sales where they're being discounted very, very quickly, and then
They do
they're
count.
doing local pickup where they're not picking them up, and like the loophole sticker.
So the people that are super abusing the loophole above and beyond what they already were in order to reach 1,000 sales.
We have a
Wait,
very
so
good
they
point.
are actually making those orders not count towards the 1,000. That is a real thing, is what I'm asking. Does anybody know this for sure?
Sassy in the chat, who is a community host, says she hasn't heard that. So I would assume they would at least have some sense of that. They put a stop to the 10-cent flash sales on local pickup methods that
Gotcha.
people were using. There is a comment that I thought was interesting. So Josie, Junk in the Trunk Mercantile, says, I disagree
Mhm.
strongly with the notion that it's easy to get to 1K while maintaining integrity. I have thoughts on that, but I will hold till the end. Does anybody else want to give their thoughts first?
I don't think it should be easy. I mean, you should be consistent. And I saw your comment in there about needing to get the 1,000 to get on raid trains. But I will point back to Jeremy's initial comment. Does getting onto raid trains does that solve or is that part of your entire business plan on Whatnot? Is that what you're intending your business to be on Whatnot, is to be able to run raid trains? If yes, then I could see you trying to get to 1,000 quickly to solve that. But if not, and you just enjoy raid trains like I do, why are you rushing to get there if you're new to Whatnot?
What gets me on that question is the maintaining integrity part, because I read that as, does every person that sells 1,000 items in a week not have integrity? Because that's certainly not true.
No, we sold 1,000 items in a week and a half, and we absolutely have integrity in what we sell and how we sell it and how a buyer gets it.
I think it took me 6 months to get to 1,000 sales. Just so we know, and I'm not. I mean, I don't consider myself OG. I'm going on 3 years, so I'm nowhere near Jeremy's 5. And it took me almost 6 months. I remember there was a point in that 6 months, somewhere around 4 or 5 months, where I looked at how many items I was selling each month, and I'm like, okay, if I keep on this project this out, I'm not going to hit 1,000 until I'm here a year. And then it was building the business. It just started clicking and clicking, and it got there a lot faster than I thought it was going to get there. But there was a point where I'm like, okay, at this rate, it's going to be a year. And I was okay with that, because I wasn't even, like Cher said in the chat, she didn't take any money out till after she hit 1,000. I was only doing a withdrawal on the first of every month. My money was sitting there. I would take it out once a month. That was it. Even for probably a good year and a half. It wasn't until recently I would even withdraw on a more regular basis than once a month. So
this is going to hurt Tracy's accounting heart and research heart. Tony and I didn't even know there was 1,000 sold item threshold for instant payout.
I had no idea.
We had no clue.
I was aware of it, but just like followers and all these other false goals that people go after that do nothing but distract from the fundamentals you need to apply to succeed, it was just another one of those. And that's my argument in all of this is, if you need it, you need to reevaluate where you're at.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk about that, I feel like, a lot in this, because that's my main problem with it, is if you need it for the instant payout, then there's other things structurally wrong with your business that you need to work out.
And again, I don't want to stick with business because not everyone's trying to start a business, but let's just make sure everybody's clear that you need the money, whether it's for a business model or whether it's for personal life situations. If you're in a situation that it is needed to the point where you're focusing on selling on this platform, when there is a million other things out there that could help you accomplish the immediate need of financial necessities, and still be able to approach this with a more foundationally grounded direction. And actually doing this slower, doing the live selling slower, is going to make your life a lot easier and better if you are more systematic about, over here I'm going to do what I need in order to accomplish my financial needs, and then on here I can take a slower, methodical, business minded approach towards Whatnot. And that's the other thing you probably should, if you're already looking at it as, I'm not looking at Whatnot as a business, then you already answered your own question that I always say, you're actually on here for a different reason then.
Correct.
You're on here and you are sacrificing that want to be on here for more of a social or some other attribute than the actual financial opportunities that it provides.
Or just a gig job, right? You're not an Uber driver, you're a DoorDash, you just come onto Whatnot and you sell occasionally here and there, you make a little bit of money. You're not trying to be a business, it's just a gig job, and that's fine.
But a lot of the mentality that goes into gig jobs is the same problem as the instant payout on Whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's how pay ends up getting so flipping low that it literally is not profitable for people to do some of them.
Anybody that's doing it as a gig job or a side hustle is, whether they realize it or not, running a business.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Because
I'm over here like
they're doing that. They are doing that on the side, and and not to mention they're doing exactly what I'm saying. They have their foundation for financial comfort, and then they're segueing into this, and that is where tons of people make the appropriate shift because they did it properly. They didn't have the stressors over here financially. They can do this over here in a lighthearted manner. And those are a lot of the people that end up segue into job to live selling, whatnot. My brother's a prime example. Made really good money. Did this on the side, one show a week. Well, not even that, and then slowly progressed. Didn't just cut off, the financial, stream over here until this started being a more, provided more opportunity for his financial future than what he was doing in his current career.
Your brother says instant payout was super important when starting his business model for compounding liquid cash. And honestly, sometimes
hello, Bill.
I don't know. I don't know whether Bill's playing
super
or being serious.
No. Yeah. It's hard to tell with him.
But I
He's
needed that
poking
to
the
get where
bear
I am.
is what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because no, he did not. No, he did not need
Come
instant
on,
payout to
come on, Nine
compound
Dimes.
because
Did
he
getting that
did it
money 4 days
systematically,
early
just
make a
like I
difference?
said.
So
Yeah, you can tell
can
the capital need. He's totally just
yes.
trying to poke the sleeping bear on that.
Can I two comments. One
Go ahead.
on needing money, and I know Bill's just messing with us. But there is a ton of people who are like, oh well, I need it. I can't buy inventory until I get this. It's that's why I always liken it to you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're living show to show. It's the exact
Mhm.
same as if you have a W-2 job and you are like scraping by and your bank account's at zero until the 15th or the next Friday comes around and you get paid. You can't live that way and you can't run a business that way. And it goes to an even deeper problem of lack of financial literacy, which we're never going to solve. And from in our point of view, it has nothing to do with
No.
whatnot. But I think that's kind of the focus there is they make it look so easy. I'm going to go back to whatnot, super easy to get into, where people don't realize that I need to buy some inventory. I need to have this. I need to have supplies. Like it's not just I'm going to pick up my phone and start selling. I think there's a whole greater problem that lies within that than just, oh, I need payout really quickly. I think we can keep digging deeper and deeper into it. The other thing is SS Vintage. I don't think you're crazy. I just think that cash could have been working for you in a much better way.
And think about the longevity of it. If you're living show to show, you constantly feel that pressure, one, to get that payout and get it in your bank, but now you have pressure to, you're going to spend it faster and feel pressure to possibly buy or spend more on your inventory than what you normally would, so you can then regenerate it to get that instant payout again instead of making thoughtful sourcing decisions. And
Absolutely.
as Jeremy talks about, the bigger and more in bulk that you can buy, the better the price normally is. And I shouldn't even say Jeremy normally talks about that because it's fact.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I do want to make a note, and I just want to make a clarification too. A lot of what we're talking about deals with people trying to get the instant payout quickly. You can you if you develop your business model not paying attention really to that attribute, and like this is lends to Bill's actual. If there's people that have that mindset, Bill's poking the bear there, Nine Dimes. Um, in his situation, I can guarantee you, if he was going after instant payout, the structural way that he was going after it enveloped within the entire business principle that they were going after. Meaning that when it was reached cohesively with the entire business model. It wasn't like starting over. The time wasn't wasted. And can you do that? 100%. But that involves coming up with this, the direction you want to go. We didn't have that was not a concern of ours. Get that had no concern, no interest, no need. Um, but I don't think there's situations, and I also think that would be a bad business model where if you're in a situation where you are running on a low margin business model where in order to buy another huge batch of stuff to keep the money flowing, you're talking about then selling expensive, large, very high priced items essentially to make the money on the low margins. And I think that'd be a bad business practice to go on a platform you're not familiar with, don't have a lot of experience with, and start selling super expensive items on. I right out of the gate, you're fundamentally starting off already either way on bad footing.
There's no
So
build up there for sure.
There's a point we haven't
So
made yet, if I can really quick.
that's exactly what I was about to talk about, Tracy.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Tracy.
Is that many people confuse payout with profit, and they are two completely different things. Thus, we go back to our title, you're destroying your margins. Just because you pull money out of whatnot does not mean you made money on paper. So, and that goes back to a basic lack of understanding of accounting principles and just the basic business principles. There's some people come to whatnot, they get it. Others think, well, as long as I'm getting money, I'm making profit. No, you're generating cash flow, which is completely different than having profit in your items.
So I'm just going to address it again. Hey, Junk, I want you to keep partaking in the conversation here, but I'm going to give my opinion on your comment about raid trains. If raid trains are going to be your business model, then I understand what you're saying. But if you are doing it for exposure to new people to help grow quickly, that in our experience is 100% not the case. I love raid trains. I am on as many of them as Lysandra puts me on, whether I like them or not. Thank you very much.
Then pick your own.
I know. You still put me in pretty in pink. Not on purpose. Anyway, but my point is this. We have not noticed in our 18 months and however many hundreds of raid trains we've been on in this time, we have not noticed a huge crossover into new customers based solely upon the raid trains. You'll get one or two here and there. Do you get some exposure? Yes. Do you get followers? Yes. It does not necessarily, in our case, constitute a bunch of whole new buyers into my room day to day.
You get followers because they're mandating that you
The
give
mandate gift cards or giveaways. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because they mandate the giveaway, but they're there for the event of the raid train. They're not there for you, and they're not really. Most people are not on following a raid train to meet the seller or a new seller. And I mean, we followed Battle of the Best all day today, all day. It's my favorite raid train on the entire app. I wasn't on it to meet new people. I was on it because of the people that what they were selling, and that's it. The item they were selling.
So
I would also like to point out in this regard, why do the raid train conductors require the 1,000 sales mark? It's because the same reason Whatnot wants you to. So if you're going to start your raid train career on Whatnot via unsure footing, no one, and you are the person that's obviously inexperienced, and then other raid train people are watching your inexperience, your greenhorn attributes to selling on here, you're not going to get invited to the raid trains anyway. Then, if you're the person that didn't do the thorough foundational building, where you have a nice structured foundation, the reason people ask you to come on raid trains, I feel a lot, are because of the quality of a seller you are, and if you're loopholing the attributes that contribute to that quality, you're defeating the purpose.
Junk, we're the babies in this group on this screen, actually. I love discount. We have not been on the app for years.
18 months.
18 months.
And I guess I would question, I'm sure it has changed some in 18 months, but has it foundationally changed for a new seller who starts today versus 18 months ago? How much different is it? You're right. I can't answer that question. So I don't know if I can agree with you or not. But if anybody who has had an account 18 months ago and starts over today, I can't answer that question.
Listen, I'm just going to say, as far as raid trains go, it is what you've heard me say the same thing Lysandra said. It's a psychologically principled attribute. People are there for the event; they're not there for you. That's all there is to it. The people that are there for you are the people that you already essentially got support from outside of the raid train itself. The majority of the people that are there for you. And you'll always hear me say 1,000 times over that you continuing to do what you do best to find the buyers that suit you best are the, again, this is the same principle of capitalizing on fundamental principles of success here and whatnot.
Yep.
We're turning this into a slight veer to the rate train principle, but it's the same. But it's the same type of things that people get caught up in. This is the problem. It's another artificially perceived attribute to potential success on here that is not a fundamental benefit to you and your future growth here on Whatnot.
I
And
actually
And
whether
think
you're seasoned or
oops,
not,
go ahead.
go ahead, Tracy. That's fine.
no, finish. I thought you had taken a breath,
We're
but
good. We're good. Whatever. Nope. It's perfectly fine. Go ahead.
sorry. I actually think the the concept of the rate trains are getting so overwhelming on the app that I have nothing against them. You want to be on rate trains, be on rate trains. I've been on rate trains. I've conducted rate trains. I'm not against them. I'm against them as being a significant part of a business model. I don't think they do you that much good. It is a form of marketing. But to want to get to 1,000 sales to be on a rate train, I just don't think that's to me, it's like not a valid reason. I also think that rate trains, there are so many of them. Any Saturday, go on the app, and there's probably 40 or 50 rate trains in just a few categories that I shop in. They're getting to the point where I almost purposely avoid them because they're getting on my nerves because it's so much. I want to see someone's individuality. I want to see you as a seller. And I'm not getting that by watching you on a rate train. That's not who you are. What you're doing is you're portraying somebody else's, you know, theme, somebody else's what they want you to do, dressing up in somebody else's costume or whatever it is that they want you to do. It's not your show. So instead of chasing a rate train, go do your own show. Do another show. Hey, if you want to be on the primitive train, you know what? The day that it's on, go do a primitive show. Like, so what about the trains? Like, I think I'm just to a point personally, and I may be coming across a little too much here, but I'm over trains. Like, I am getting to the point where I'm like,
It's done.
yeah.
And let me put a little different perspective here, right? Again, I like rate trains. If a conductor is requiring the 1,000 sales or 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers or whatever it is, that's more than likely because they want sellers who have built up a following to bring people into that raid train, right? So it's not necessarily for newer sellers to come in and get exposure, but it's to bring buyers into that raid train. And if you don't have experienced or semi-experienced sellers, how many people are you really going to get in a raid train, which ultimately defines its success or failure? You can't. You could, but it's not going to come across as a success if a 4 or 5, 6 hour raid train has 8 people on it all day long. Maybe those 8 people were fantastic buyers all the way through, but I know I can't do that. You put me in one 30-minute show where I'm spending money for the first 30 minutes, I can't spend that much money all the way through the raid train to help support it. There's just no way. So the more buyers in, the better, right?
And what rate trains are you finding that have, 5, 6, 7, 800 people on them? The only ones that I've seen, at least in the categories that I'm in, those are the trains that you got to go kiss somebody's butt or buy a sponsorship to get on. They're not like
Or
a
you
general.
a gigantic
you have to
giveaway
do
that
huge
depletes your
giveaways.
margins.
Yeah.
So we're
$100
talking
giveaways, $300
yeah.
giveaways, those type of things, which just kill you.
I did one of those. I didn't kiss butt to get on it,
Yeah,
and I lost my shirt.
exactly.
1,000+ people.
Yep.
And guess who bought all my stuff?
Your
The
people that
regulars.
were
My
already in your show.
customers.
Yep.
My customers didn't
Yep.
even need to do it. All I did is dragged my customers over to a different environment.
Did you get any
That
new people, any new buyers into that thing, or was it strictly all of your existing
No, his
customers?
stuff was way too expensive.
I know.
I want to
It
make a
was
point
really
about
expensive.
Ray trains in business. Let's just use an analogy to something that we're all more familiar with. To me, a Ray train is like a brick and mortar store, and they're doing a block event, like a block party, and it's like, yeah, I'll take part in this. I'll put a little table outside my shop and hand out free lollipops or ice cream cones for the people that come by. That's kind of like what a Ray train is. It's not your core business. It's not what you're doing. You're not operating that way on a day-to-day basis and building a business. It is like this block party that's going on. So if we think about it a little bit differently, we start to say, well, wait a minute, is it really helping my business at that point? Or am I just being
until
part
I
of a community?
yeah, until I basically threw that out there that I wasn't going to really answer this question anymore. One of the number one questions I would get in my chats and or privately when I would have people asking me questions was, how do I retain or convert customers from the raid trains? And my answer was, stop doing raid trains and find your own customers through your organic sales method and your business model. Some, some verbiage or some variation of that, because, and that just told the tale all the time to me. I got that allows used to be one of my number one questions, which tells you
I can agree
exactly
with that.
what they don't convert. You're not getting people out of it. My other curiosity is, how do we segue back to the original conversation of the 1,000?
So I'm not, we're not calling people out. We're not naming names, not calling out, but there has been a lot of talk recently, and I've heard it in multiple rooms of, there's some chat shows going on of rushing to 1K. There is a seller who is, I got my 1K in 10 days and this is how I did it. And let me show you how to do this. So let's just kind of take that and roll with that of not necessarily talking about that seller, but the whole prevalence of this on the app and how it's hurting you instead of helping you. So turn it back over. Lysandra hasn't talked a whole lot tonight.
Sorry,
Let's hear from
Tracy.
you.
SS just said, just throwing it out there. The reselling roundtable raid train.
I'm
Stop.
I'm not gonna lie, SS just completely took my whole mind.
Took the whole thing right out of her head. I know. I know. In terms of 1,000
There's still raid chains on the chat.
over the raid train. So.
All right.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
let's get
I
back
got to
to
stop.
yes. Yeah, I mean, my perspective on. I mean, everyone already knows my perspective. It's that going after that. And listen, I've said this before. If I want to be the evil villain of whatnot, sure, listen to that person. Knock yourself out. Have a bunch of fun. Go hit 1,000 sales in 10 days. It's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to do anything for you. Actually, that's a lot. Will it do something for you? It'll get you to 1,000 sales really quick. But will it compound into future value for you? Absolutely not. It's starting something. You have to stop something, start something else, and then you're basically each goal you do is incrementally done, as opposed to approaching it from a holistic point of view. And each time you're going to lose sight of what's necessary to accomplish what you need to on the platform, because you're so hyper focused on one small little tiny attribute to it. And these things that happen on here, whether it's this 1,000, whatever micro aspect that people try to hyper focus on, and people basically getting popularity through loopholing it, and I'm going to show you how to get there, is doing nothing but the same thing the whole 1,000 sales attribute does, and it makes you get ingrained on here in the wrong direction. And that's why you continuously hear over and over again, everyone's asking the same questions. How do you succeed? How do you, keep people in your room? You're not keeping people in your room selling 10-cent stickers. You're not keeping people in your room selling dollar, flashcards. It's just not what people are on this platform to do. So why are you doing it? Why are you spending so much energy and effort? And why are you listening to people that are distracting you from what would truly give you the success you need? And again, it's just short-term gains, hitting short-term milestones at the expense of long-term viability.
If you need a goal in order to work towards something, I'm all about goals. I preach goals all the time. If you need a goal like 1,000, why don't you make it, I want to reach my 1,000 sales with the highest average order value I possibly can. Now let's focus on increasing my average order value. Let's focus on some real business principles and concepts that are going to get me there and then sustain me and take me even farther after I hit that 1,000.
You want another goal, reach your 1,000 sales without needing that money.
There
Like
you go.
Sherry said, don't spend $1 of it.
Yep.
As Vintage says in here that they didn't touch that money for a full year, which I think is
Wow.
insane and amazing at the same time. To just let that money pile up for a whole year. But the reality is, do you need today's sales to purchase tomorrow's inventory 4 days faster so you can turn it around? And if you do, there's probably something fundamentally wrong with what you're doing.
I
Mhm.
I think it's kind of funny the way people talk about this instant payout. It's almost like they take this perspective that I don't get money from Whatnot unless I have instant payout.
Yes.
It's like they treat it that way almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like I have to get to that because if I don't, I'm never going to get my money from Whatnot. It's like you do realize, look at your business model of I need to ship my items as quickly as possible so when it gets delivered, I get my money. Like
Yeah.
just realize there's other things you could be doing that also contributes to your foundational principles to successful uh, building a business or whatever you're doing on here for personal financial gain on here. Because building a faster and more efficient shipping model and staying on top of that is going to support you throughout the entirety of your growth on Whatnot. So if
That's
you build
wonderful.
that in order to get money faster, so it's just a matter of how people are looking at it. So instead of trying to get to the thousand, sales, why not just build a better shipping model and try to get the things to people faster?
Yep.
So it's just crazy. It's just whenever I hear this, it just seems like that's the way people are talking. Like I got to get to that, or I'm not going to get paid. It's like once it's
Yeah,
delivered, you get.
And
like I said,
whereas
you're still getting paid. It's just
Yeah, it's
4
just
days
delayed a little.
later.
That's all.
It's like 4 days. How fast are you shipping
yeah,
it? How fast is it getting delivered? The money's still going to show up in your account. And I get it. It's a goal, and everybody looks at something that they need to attain. And if you're looking at it like, hey, it's a goal, and I want to get there as quick as possible, and it flows into your business model, sure, go crazy with it. But the reality is, it
It's a
doesn't help.
distraction.
I mean, it could be.
I mean, yeah, it's a distraction. Like it's people are hyper when you hyper focus on something that essentially is not fundamentally sound to building a business. It's a distraction.
I
I
100%
mean,
agree it's a distraction because what you measure and what you focus on improves. What are you focusing on? You're focusing on getting to 1K. You're not focused on let's provide high quality products at a good pace, put on a good show, figure out how to engage my
mhm,
customers, learn about shipping. You're not focused on that. You're focused on how fast can I get stuff out the door to get my money.
yeah.
So you're not focused on everything you need to be focused on.
I got a
So,
question for you.
Uh-oh, here we go.
The no. I'm just curious. Like Tracy, we kind of got off. We keep saying a lot of the same things in different ways, which is always good because eventually it helps it. Somebody hears it the way they need to. But Tracy had mentioned how people are on the platform giving ideas and strategies of accomplishing this. My question is, what does their feedback look like? What does their ratings look like? How is the rest of their business model? Basically, what Tracy was talking about. What's that looking like? Like, is it does that? I don't know. I don't go watch this. I'm just curious if anybody knows if there's any subpar uh, um, attributes to their business as a result of focusing on this. Does anybody
uh,
know, or
I'll
do you
be
not
honest, I
you're not
don't.
aware of?
I'll be honest, I don't.
The one specific who's really preaching, do it for cash flow, do it as fast as you can. Um,
Hmm.
they've only been on the app for like 3 weeks. There's not a lot to go by. So right now everything looks
Gotcha.
roses, like everything looks really great, but I don't know how that's going to play out in the future. So, um, other things the other people that I'm hearing, like the push is just a general community type push. It just seems like everybody
Yeah.
is like, let's hurry up and get
Yeah.
to 1K. So it's not specific. How
And
many 1K rate trains are there every single weekend? And look, I'm not getting on 1K rate trains. There's two sellers I highly respect, but it isn't about getting there as fast as you can. It's about helping these sellers learn how to sell. The one rate train that I support is about learning to sell. It's not about getting there fast.
So now we have a bunch of people that are coming on doing the raid train thing in order to try to get to 1,000 sales quickly. So essentially, we're dealing with newer sellers on here, being on a raid train, trying to sell a bunch of items really quickly. Is that what my takeaway for that type of raid train
Unless
is? Or am I
unless you're on a
interpreting
new
it incorrectly?
unless
Yeah.
you're on a new seller rate train, most rate train conductors will not allow you on until you have a
No.
certain amount sold or so many followers.
I misinterpreted what Tracy was saying. I thought somebody was running raid trains, that the goal of the raid train is to help the sellers reach 1,000 sales.
There are. There are
Yes.
some
Those are
there
the
are
ones I'm
some new
talking about.
seller
Mm-hmm.
ones.
Yeah, that are designed,
Yeah.
which then that's just crazy because you have all this back end stuff that you need to learn. And it's already complicated enough, and people are already having a hard enough time trying to distinguish the appropriate ways they need to run their business with their shipping models and shipping profiles and getting that all taken care of. And then you're like coming on here and doing a raid train, trying to get exposure through the raid train while you're also trying to hyper scale in an environment you're completely unfamiliar with. That's just a recipe for disaster. I mean, just think about everything I just said there. That is a 100% recipe for disaster, discomfort, bad correlations to the selling app in general. And not to mention, if the bunch of buyers are in there supporting and buying, the receiving end of that could be disastrous as well. Stuff not getting there in a timely manner, stuff not being handled properly on, customer service being a mess, because now we all know that everybody that comes on this app new is automatically enrolled in the customer service program. They don't get the luxury of not having to deal with the mistakes they made out of the gate, and you're increasing the likelihood of these mistakes happening pretty exponentially by
Agreed.
applying this type of mentality, this mindset.
Millicent, it blows my mind that any raid train conductor would allow a seller to come onto Whatnot and have their first show in a raid train.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
mind blowing.
One of the things
I
we
mean,
haven't talked
how
about
many of us?
is
Go
we
ahead,
haven't
Tracy.
talked about the stigma of being under 1K. That's something we haven't quite talked about. There is a common perception of, and I'm saying it this way because in general, it feels like people look at people under 1K as, oh, you're a new seller, you're a baby seller, and that it's looked at as being bad. But you are a new seller. Like we've all
Yeah,
been there. Like you are. It's not a bad thing. I think as a community, there's this general notion that, oh, you don't have your 1K yet. You don't have enough experience. You're a baby seller. Well, yeah, you are. You're a baby seller. Like it is what it is, but it's not a bad thing. But I think as a community, it's looked upon as being bad.
but the thing is, who's looking upon it as being bad? Other sellers. I mean, what my point, that this goes back to the buying behaviors of people that come on here new and are coming on here as predominantly buyers, are not going in as a majority, are not going in and really looking at people's profiles to see how many items they sold. That is not a normal action from the majority of people that come on the app. People are not coming on and then go and do all this research on the person that they're. It's designed for TikTok brain. We already know that. You scroll in other people's rooms. As soon as you get into a room, you're like, oh, that's interesting. No, I'm going to go up here and do a bunch of research on them. No, that's not what's happening. You're buying based on what you see at the given point in time that it becomes available to you as a large majority. Are there exceptions to that? Yes. I don't, but I discount the exceptions because I deal in the rule, not the exception, and that's how you are successful.
Right.
So the negative attributes, it's a section of the community that I think is predominantly, in my opinion, would be based on active sellers slash buyers and a lot more sellers, because it makes them feel better, and it's a personal puffing of their own ego by going, oh, you've only, you haven't even reached 1,000 sales yet. Who cares? They're not the ones that you're going after anyway, as far as buying is concerned.
I would disagree. Now, this is where I disagree with you. And as Sassy
Oh,
pointed out, I do look for reviews and I do look at the number of sales you have. Not necessarily that I base my buying behavior on the number of sales, but if you are brand new, if you have very few reviews, if you have 2 or 3 reviews only, you have less than 100 sales, maybe. I mean, roundabout numbers. I'm looking at that in evaluation of everything. I'm also watching how you're conducting yourself. I'm probably not going to spend a whole lot of money at first. I may do a little test purchase if you have something I really want. See how you act, see how you react, see how the show runs, see how you ship it to me before I come back and spend any significant amount of money with you. So the newer you are, the more cautious I'm going to be because I feel you need to prove yourself. But it's no different. If I went into somebody who had 4,000 sales, I think I get a little more comfort if they have a 5-star rating and I'm reading a ton of great reviews. I'm still not going to just drop a ton of money with somebody I don't know. I have to build up to it.
Yeah, so essentially that's your behavioral style of buying on here, Tracy, whether you're
Yes.
new or old. So again, that wasn't the
Okay.
new that attribute you just said, like even if they're experienced based on their sales, they're going to treat them the same way,
I may spend a little more
essentially.
if there's more reviews to give me a little more comfort feeling. I'm going to look. I think the amount of money I spend is going to be based on my comfort level. The more evidence that is there, the more I will spend, the more instant comfort level I'm going to have.
And I will also go back to I believe you're the exception to the rule of the buyers on
Am
this
I
platform.
really? I would love to hear that if
Absolutely.
anybody in the
Absolutely.
chat does the same thing.
No, there's going to be people in the chat that do the same thing, but the majority of people, and the further we go into the future, the more people are literally just, I mean, that's why they have this. How many people scroll, utilize that? I don't use that feature, but when people started telling me the amount of people that do that, that's the younger generation coming on. They're
Yeah.
not going in and reading all the information about what you have to offer or what you've already sold. They are instant gratification. Boom, that's awesome. I like what you're doing. You're creating the environment that I want. I'm going to start buying from you, and we'll see what happens afterwards. There, the stuff that's right on the screen is the stuff they're going to look at, and that's why it's on the screen. Your rating, how many people in your room, they whatnot designed it for that mindset. If that part was a huge attribute to what people wanted to know to make a buying decision, your sales number would be right up there at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
They would have it right there because that's the majority of what people would want to see in order to make a comfortable buying decision, and it would be up there. In my opinion.
70% of the my last 10 purchases, I did not look up and look at the buyer's sales or reviews. Didn't look at their profile at all.
The last 7 out of 10.
70% of them, yep.
Which is crazy because 9 months ago you would have looked at every single one of them.
I mainly looked at reviews.
Yeah.
And if it was a 5.0, I wouldn't go in there. But if I noticed they had like a 4.8 or something like that, then I would go and start digging into the reviews before I buy from them.
So essentially, like I was saying, this stuff that people care about, whatnot shows. And if you see a red flag, then you're going to do research.
Yeah.
If you did not see a red flag, you didn't bother doing the research.
No.
But what you're saying is out of the last 10 purchases, you didn't even look at their history at all.
No.
You just bought the item and said, I hope it all goes well.
Seven of them were new, and I didn't look at anything on their profile. And 3 of them I've had business with before.
There you go.
Why do they put number of people in the room?
Why do they put number of people in the room?
The crowd brings the crowd is the only thing I could think of.
Oh yeah, the number count in there draws attention, and it's 100%. That's a throwback to social environments, herd mentality. If everybody, the term is lost on me right at the moment. Can't bring it up, but it's the principle that if there's a long line outside of a restaurant,
you're more
even if it was more, you're gonna even if you go online and do the research that the ratings are lower. There's already been found, and there's a line outside of one restaurant. And there's one that's highly rated, and they're both burger joints. You're gonna go to the one with the long line outside of the restaurant.
You're darn skippy. If I'm somewhere in South Carolina and I come across a barbecue shack somewhere in the middle of nowhere that's got 42 people in the line, I'm stopping.
Yeah. We don't even have to be hungry. We're going to stop.
Even if there's one a half a mile down the road that has better ratings, you're standing in that line.
I will.
The majority of people.
100% I will.
Tracy, maybe not. Tracy might do some type of analytical, like, all right, yeah, their ratings are really high over here.
No,
Their reviews on here. I'm giving you a hard time, Tracy.
no,
That's
but
all. That's all I'm
what you're
doing.
saying is interesting because I don't do it where the line is, but I do that exact same concept the opposite way. If nobody's in the parking lot, my first thought is there's something wrong with the place. I'm not going there. So it's the exact same concept, just in the reverse.
We will typically, to use that analogy, we will typically still stop because it's something that we've looked at, and then we get there and it's empty. And then by the time we have finished eating dinner, we look at each other and say, well, now we know why it was empty.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So the 1K sales, let's get back to the 1K
Okay.
I had questions, but then I
What we
went and
were
looked at
talking about.
my history.
I've got on the 1K sales, there was a comment earlier about it being so different, that it's so different now for sellers than it was for the OG sellers or whatever. I really don't think it's different. Is there more competition maybe? Is there more people in vintage or clothing, whatever? Yeah, the app is growing every day. There's more people, but I don't think it's necessarily different. The same business principles, the same concepts apply. Noel's over here disagreeing with me. He's like, no, it's different. I don't necessarily think it's different. There's more competition, but to me, that just means I need to dig down even deeper and apply all the stuff that people are teaching me how to apply the right way and not rush to the 1K. I think because there's more competition is even more reason to focus on my business.
No,
The attributes of things that are different on this app are not the things that require you to get to 1,000 sales faster.
see
The principle behind 1,000 sales is a fundamental business principle across the board, no matter what's going on. Your race to do that, you are cutting out things you need to do to be successful on here. Whether that was 5 years ago, whether that was 3 years ago, whether that was a year and a half ago, if you had focused on that, you would have been shortchanging yourself for future growth. That principle is steadfast and rock solid. And it's going to be that way if you eventually have the opportunity to be on here for 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. Because it's a fundamental principle of focusing on the wrong thing. That's all that really boils down to. You're focusing on the wrong thing to be successful. Doesn't matter how long you've been on the app or how long the app's been around. It's the opportunity to create a misguided direction.
if it was only the 1,000 sales that they are talking about, then I think it would be fair. I think the difference lies when Whatnot came up with a award system that gives new sellers the incentive to get money if they reach the 1,000 sales. Whatnot is giving them a payout, not only the early payout, but also what they're giving them is a monetary incentive as a reward for them reaching the 1,000 sales. So that's what's driving this urgency to reach that 1,000 sale mark.
But is it the 1,000 sale mark, or is it like you get it if you do so much dollars within a week of time or something? Oh, it's at 1,000 now. Okay, I didn't know
Did
that.
they move it? Did they move that incentive to 1,000? Because
Yeah.
I know
Yes.
when we started, it was sell a couple of hundred items or something, or do 3
That's what I thought,
shows or
Tony. Yeah.
something.
Ours was a monetary goal.
Are
We
you
had to
talking
sell
about
so many dollars within like 48 hours of our first show or something.
Something like that.
You're talking about Whatnot's incentives for new people that come on.
Yeah,
They
the new
give you a little
sellers. Yeah.
that changes. So that's not an ingrained guaranteed attribute to that, because that has changed in different forms and fashions throughout, because they try different stuff depending on what their personal goals are. Like,
Yes.
you know, they would have certain number of shows that you have to reach in order to get that. There were certain volume print aspects in order to get a certain payout. And then, like we're talking now, there's unit sold goals. My guess is they're testing all the different possibilities and seeing which ones work, and or they have a certain growth model thereafter, so they incorporate a certain, a certain one of those principles. So, and then, like I said, no matter how long you've been on here, that revolves. I mean, that has changed multiple times over since for the 5 years I've been on here, and I've seen old things come back. I've seen that, kind of cycle through the system.
Just
So on
she's looking at it.
on help.whatnot.com, they currently have a sales match bonus where they're matching dollar for dollar of the sales that you're making for the first 14 days.
Dang, time to start a new account.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's like a maximum.
Stop, Tracy. It was a
Yeah, it's a now.
But I want to know how fast you're going to get to 1,000 sales.
Yeah,
I'm not.
well, but here, like, look at that. Let's say you spend here, perfect opportunity to talk about how people getting caught up in the hype of what's going on there.
Yeah,
they're not even going to pay attention to what you just read that has a way higher value to them to focus on.
100%.
As opposed to trying to sell a bunch of 50-cent stickers in order to get to 1,000 sales when they could have spent the time to sell. I mean, a match. Then your goal is what it should be: higher quality, higher valued merchandise done in a environment that people are going to want. So your customer service is good, your shipping's good, all that stuff ends up following in line. And then they pay you in order to do so. And if you're hyper focused on reaching 1,000 sales, you're going to miss that entirely. If before you sign up, that's what you're chasing. They're
time
false
to sell
goals.
that goal, Jeremy.
Yeah. Like Los Angeles, I'm sure that there's probably certain categories and stuff restrictions, but
yes.
I know they've done it
for us.
Yeah. They've done it for certain categories too. They've, been like, if you sell X amount in the comic book or the gold, whenever they're kicking off a new, parent category, they would do an incentive for it.
Oh, now they're doing 7-day sales goals.
Oh.
That's one of them. Can you see it?
This is for new sellers here?
Yeah, they're calling it the super sales bonus.
Ah.
You can pick your goal. They give you 3 offers. Sell $250, get a $50 bonus. Sell $750, get a $150 bonus. Sell $2,500, get a $500 bonus. You can pick which one that you want to complete in the 7 days. So I have a question because I've kind of touched on this based off of a conversation I had with Kenny at one of the reseller meetups. So the 1,000 sales goal is really, it's kind of like an artificial goal that Whatnot's put on there. I think they picked it just because they want to make sure that you are who you are and you're a credible business with integrity, or person with integrity that's going to sell your items honestly, ship them out on time, and ship them out in a way that the customers are going to get the items without them being broken, right? And they've got to, I feel like that is an important thing for them to do, to vet new sellers on the app. But they've tied it to this: you don't get your money instantly until this point. I don't know why they've got those two there. But what Kenny said, they're testing out a new thing where they're going to make these gems that people can earn, not only just sellers but buyers too. Or do you think these gems, which create more artificial goals, are going to sidetrack people from what their main goal as a business should be?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my right out of the gate, I'm not, well, I shouldn't say this. I don't know what it entails. So like the rewards program for your own personal business, that was, if not dealt with properly, could be a distraction. If you focus too much on it, it could have become a problem for certain people. That's the kind of stuff that I'm not going to be concerned with out of the gate. until I believe my business could potentially create value out of it that doesn't require dependency on it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if I were starting new, it would not be something I would focus on, just like the 1,000 sales mark, just like
100%.
follower marks, just like, all that stuff was not a focus of mine. My focus was core business. And I would stay with my core until I saw a value that could come from the implementation of these gems. Just like one of the main reasons, to go back to the rewards program, I was excited about the rewards program because they said it was going to be something. I pretty much committed to doing it because I told everyone I was going to adopt it based on what they said it was going to be. And I learned my lesson again from Whatnot. What they say things are going to be and what was presented was two different things. So I'm not even sure if I would have even adopted that at the time it came out. As you can, if anybody knows, I haven't been implementing that this year at all.
Yeah.
The rewards program.
We haven't either.
We have stopped it as well.
Yeah.
So have I.
And I know you don't do it, Tracy.
Nope. I'd rather, I rely on my own rewards program. I'd rather do something that I've designed that works for my business, that helps bring people back, encourage sales. It meets the goals that I've set.
Yeah. And it also creates a cohesiveness that's way stronger brand recognition wise, branding wise, with you as a seller on here and your customer base. It's
100%.
not generic. It's
And
personalized.
that's why we stopped ours, is I didn't feel like it was contributing anything to my business.
It really-
And I wanted to set up something different but similar to what Tracy's doing. That was more branded to I Love Discount.
Yep.
My goal in it, just if anyone cared, was my biggest thing that I was after was seeing its viability to convert watchers to buyers, but they got rid of they at one time were going to allow you to have watch time increase the whole way through every single metric on there, but then
And
when
now
they
it's
rolled
only
it
the
out,
first level.
it's only the first.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, again, bunny trail. Sorry, everybody.
Well, that would have been interesting if you could have done that all the way through the levels.
Yeah, it would have been great because if they're not buying and getting the whole way through the levels, eventually by accumulating all the rewards, the whole point would have been for them to eventually exercise the ultimate goal of reaching and that was the goal, was like, hey, you get this and you have an opportunity to make it into the show where you're going to potentially win $10,000, but it's a buyer giveaway. So whether you like it or not,
you got to buy at some point. You got to buy at some point.
So, but anyway,
I would have liked it that way.
But and that's what I'm talking about. You focus on that stuff, it becomes more of a distraction to your core principle. And I think the gems, I think the 1,000 units sold. I think trying to track followers, all that stuff is nothing but a distraction from your business.
So do you guys think that Whatnot should change the requirement of the 1,000 sales?
And if yes, to what?
Yeah. I think a structured more. I think that the 1,000 sales, is it still where you have to have 10 shows and 1,000 sales?
You still need to have. No. I don't know about that. I know Premier requires a show amount, but I don't know about the 1,000 sales.
For instant payout, it doesn't require.
I don't think so.
Well, if it doesn't, I think that's the requirement. Then I think more show requirements with a minimum amount of time on the app, coupled with what that is. It needs to be more attributes to actual exposure on the app in a multitude of elements.
Yes.
So, and I think they already did this, to loophole this with the pickups and stuff. People were just like selling 1,000 stickers to one person or something like that. And they'd come and, assign it for a pickup, and then you end up reaching your goal in your requirement in no time. And that again defeats the purpose of what they're trying to accomplish. And if you had amount of run time, a certain number of shows, a certain number of items sold, and
something with customer
a certain amount of
service,
feedback, positive feedback attributes, all that should be rolled in order for you to get. And you could lower the threshold on you shouldn't have to be 1,000 sales. I'm just saying it should be a more cohesive overall encompassed attributes to reaching that. And or I mean, there's some apps that are just like, after you prove yourself and they don't really even tell you, there's like 90-day time window and you do X amount of
It
business.
shouldn't even be told.
Yeah, you end up getting it, and it's a congratulations. Like, hey, congratulations. I'm not against that type of thing but
I like
Whatnot
that
would be,
actually.
yeah, but Whatnot that's not going to accomplish some of what they're trying to do. Some of what they're trying to do is exactly what I said earlier: is creating those goals to entrench you in to this platform, even though you could go elsewhere and accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. They hook you in. They create that anchor of goal setting within the platform, and that's where your mind is. So that's where you're going to stay, and that's what they want. So I don't think they would do the. I think they might do the where they spread it out, because that's like an incremental goal that they could give you badges like, hey, you earned, you reached this, you're one step closer to instant payout. Hey, you've reached this, you've reached step 2 of instant payout. And that would create the same, it'd probably actually solidify it all that much more, because you'd be hitting those goals faster, or receiving rewards from Whatnot a lot faster. And it'd be a lot harder to loophole your way around.
The sticker thing with local pickup blows my mind, because all I can think about is the headache of tracking down all the pickup codes. Because if you don't, in the beginning, if you don't track down the pickup codes from all those sticker sellers,
You don't get
they
paid.
hold the money and stuff for 2 weeks anyway, and none of those sales count until they're picked up. I don't know. Anyway, Miss Tracy, what do you think?
I agree. That's why I haven't said anything. I agree with all of the concepts. I don't like it just the 1,000 sales. It should be a combination. I would add in customer service to that too, since it's rolling out for everybody. That should be part of like an overall experience. I like it better because it ties it to the actual business principles that they should be working
Right.
towards. So I think that's a great idea that Whatnot should adopt.
I like the idea of them not announcing it at all. But then I know, like, when they played around, what was it, Jeremy? The 2,500 sales when you first started Blue 14? And was
I
that
don't
For
able
lowering shipping.
for being able to offer reduced shipping when they were playing around with that? And it
Whatever
drove,
happened to that?
I don't
Is
think
that
they
It
do
still
just
it
went
part?
anymore,
away.
do they?
Okay.
I think it just
I
went
It
think
just
away.
so.
went away.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know that people not knowing what that actual requirement was
Yeah,
drove
that's
people
it.
nuts.
Yeah. But it drove them nuts because that implementation was a handicap to you getting that was a tool that is used on here, and you shouldn't do that, because that
Yeah,
gives the
I
impression
agree.
of you're
that's a
allowing
detriment to new
experienced
sellers
sellers to
growth.
have an advantage over you. So it was a hardship. So having a hardship that disadvantages you on the app and not knowing when you're going to be released from it, that's a terrible. That's just, again, that's a recipe for bad experiences. Like, you're going to come on, you
100%.
come on the app and you're in that environment, you're like, well, this sucks. I mean, I don't, what am I supposed to go towards? So,
I have
but
to get 1,000 sales to be able to offer
yeah,
reduced
you have no
shipping, but I
idea.
can't get 1,000 sales because I can't offer reduced shipping. What the heck is going
So
on?
I think what I was talking about earlier, and what Tracy also agrees with, and I know you agree too, would be let's spread it out over all the metrics that actually
I do
determine if
too.
you're a good seller. And I think it would accomplish the same thing that Whatnot on all respects, and then actually enhances it, because like I said, if you had a reward system, hey, you hit this goal, hey, you hit this goal, and it's not, you feel like you're accomplishing something on here, as opposed to being like, okay, I don't know what exactly is going on, and the only goal you do have to feel like you have to go after is hitting pre-decided numbers that the community decides is important. Like, oh, if you hit 10,000 followers, it's a big deal. If you hit, your 1,000 sales goal, very quickly, that's impressive and it's a big deal. That's all social stuff. That's not business that's not any foundational business principled models that help you compound, in the future growth.
And let's face it
I
though
agree.
too, no matter what they implement, there's going to be some category complaining. Like they could do
Oh
the
yeah.
best they can, but even with the 1,000 sales right now, handmade's at an extreme disadvantage to hitting 1,000 sales. So it doesn't matter what we implement or what not implements. Ultimately,
Mhm.
there's going to be a whole category, if not more, complaining that it's not fair to them or not fair. So it's going to be very hard to make everybody happy in any situation. Um,
Yeah, it's like when everyone freaked out when they decided to disallow giveaways towards your item sold count.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not picking on anybody in handmade, but I've seen enough people in handmade be creative in things that they create and to easily make that 1,000 sales. That's not like this colossal load of work.
Low
really?
entry cost, easy labor cost,
I've seen several sellers do it,
100%.
and I've seen some sellers make a smaller product to make lower starts work for their business on Whatnot better. I've seen another seller.
One of those, right? Didn't she do like the little?
Try not to say names,
I will call Reggie out every time because I love Reggie.
but Reggie specifically will make things for like a challenge Whatnot competition show where the competition is to sell as many items in 10 minutes as possible, and she's almost won the damn thing. 100% handmade
So handmade.
because she's smart enough to think, okay, what items can I make with a low work input so I'm not killing myself every week. And there's actually another handmade seller. She makes custom playing cards.
Yep.
That did very well. And
Yep.
I think some of them think well outside the box and can think of original ideas to get around some of those hurdles that
Yeah.
category as a whole complains about.
Okay, but why? But here's my thing. You're already going into a business is a slower, more methodical, like you're creating the items, which takes a long time to begin with.
Yep.
You're really selling the items, you're taking care, so waiting 7 days to get paid should not be a concern.
No. It's not. I don't think Lysandra's argument is about the payout of it, right?
No.
But but you're saying that they found their way to get to 1,000 sales faster by implementing all
No,
this.
I think what Lysandra was saying is based upon what Tracy said, where categories would have difficulties with these other goals or metrics, not necessarily the 1,000, because of the time, the labor input it is in the handmade stuff, right?
Well, I think if they did it across the board, it would benefit that category the most because it would just, in my opinion, you lower that 1,000 threshold and make it more transactional related, meaning like, okay, you're gonna, instead of having 1,000 crappy transactions in order just to reach it, we force you to have 200, just to pull a number of quality sales, meaning and they would be the prime ones to get that, because that's what their entire business model is built around,
Right.
like great customer service, great piece of merchandise built. They pride themselves on that and creating a spectacular from the beginning to the end experience. So if they built a model around highlighting that entire category would be probably the biggest supporters of it, in my opinion, and the biggest benefactors to it as well. And again, I have a hard time finding a category that would be upset about lowering one and increasing it across the board, other than people that literally want to try to loophole and scam people out of it, or just be shady. I shouldn't say scam, just be a little more haphazard in their business model and just disingenuine and just not the greatest all around seller. So.
Right. What were you going to say, Tracy?
There's a comment. So should the metrics be different? I don't think they should be different at all. Again, we're chasing the wrong thing. If your sole focus is on the metrics, just focus on your business, no matter what category you're in. I was just making the point that no matter what we come up with, not everybody's going to be not happy across the board. But I don't think, I think the metrics are the metrics. If Whatnot starts saying, okay, well, you guys get this and you guys get this and you guys, that's too hard. It's administratively impossible to manage. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it definitely would. It has to be one thing across the board for the entirety of the platform. And, they're always going to do the same thing. I always say they're going to play to the rule, not the exception. There's always going to be, like Tracy said, grumblers about any changes that happen, and there's going to be other people that are like, yes, this is spectacular and works out well for me.
And if you're on here for the social aspect of it, what do you care about that milestone anyway?
Exactly. Yeah. Which is funny. We're talking about Whatnot changing things, and we wanted to have a segue into another topic today, and we're coming up on 8 o'clock. Do we want to take that opportunity now, or do we want to continue with this? I think we keep going. Like I said, I think we're going in circles, saying the same thing in a multitude of ways. I think that the put an end cap on that is, stick with sound, true, fundamental principles. Don't worry about all this stuff, and just forward, go forward, not worrying about it, and it will happen organically for you. And that's the best outcome you're going to have. That's going to turn your business into a more successful future. So I don't know if you guys want to put your own personal final thoughts on this topic, and then we can segue over, since, like I said, we were talking about change.
If you need instant payout to keep your business cash fluid, there are some fundamental things wrong with your business that don't have to do with being on Whatnot. And you need to go outside of Whatnot and figure out what those issues are and fix those issues. You just as Tracy says, you can't live paycheck to paycheck, or in Whatnot land, it'd be show to show to run a successful business. You'll never grow, ever. Yeah. That's all I had.
To run a successful anything. I said, there's people that always will say, like, oh, it's not a business. To run a household, to run a business, to run, positive financial, to create positive financial situations for yourself.
And I'm going to go back to part of it is just being a well-rounded business or a well-rounded person, if we don't want to take the business concept out of there, and understanding, how the money flows, understanding cash flow, understanding net profit, understanding how to run the show. So like all of those pieces coming together, you can't have just one sole focus. You have to really lay down a good foundation. And that's what this is doing for you. Work on the foundation. Don't worry about the outside stuff. Don't worry about the rate trains. Don't worry about the 1K. Don't worry about all of that. Worry about yourself and building your business.
I honestly don't have anything more substantial to add to that right there.
Yeah.
Do it right. Be successful.
Now we get to talk about a fun topic that I thought I'd never talk about as much as I have.
Jeremy's favorite.
Week and a half or whatever.
I love it.
So, does anybody know what's been blowing up the Whatnot community chats this past week?
Come on, let's see.
Anybody knows.
Unless your head's been in the ground.
I doubt anybody knows what's going to happen. What's been talked about.
Did anybody say?
There we go.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And I would like Tracy to lead this, because she literally broke down her sales, broke down what the projected cost. First off, shame on Whatnot for throwing out a big change like that with no additional answers to what people were going to be asking the most. Why they would put a shipping update out like that and not give you, 1 to 5 pounds is going to be this, or start at this, or at least anything.
They did. It just took about 5 hours.
Yeah, it took 5 hours of people going crazy on Whatnot. And I will say this before I let Tracy go into it, because she did great in her show. I do think Whatnot needs to get with their community host with big 100%. Changes like this, and give them time, and possibly even require them to run shows on the subject. They are the go-between between what Whatnot decides to do and every other seller on the platform. And I think they could have mitigated a lot of the people being scared. Not all of it, obviously, but they could have controlled the narrative. Whatnot, if you're listening.
Yeah, and everybody's agreeing with that. Yeah, Lysandra, everybody agrees with you.
Yeah, they have a tendency to to throw this up. They've done it in the past. I've been on for 5 years. It happened once before with shipping where everybody panicked and was like, well, now what? How and the way they worded it, they have a tendency to have some pretty rough communication skills with sending stuff out for broad understanding. Like it's weird. They have like these internal phrases almost. I feel like they have it within their own ecosystem and whatnot, and they have certain statements that hark back to that, and none of us know what the heck they're talking about.
And that's the thing. They're actively growing that community host. I think they have 35 plus sellers in it now. You could have totally spread them out over days to control the narrative and to explain that little update that little update bomb they threw on everybody.
Let's get to the data. The not scary part.
The not scary part. Well, I started off my talk on this the other day with the hysteria that surrounded this just baffles me, because I heard so many comments in such a short amount of time between Whatnot shows and various social media sites of no, I'm never going to be able to do max shipping. This is going to ruin my business. This is going to cost me a fortune. Whatnot better be giving us free boxes and like so much stuff. And I have to admit, when I first heard it, what did I do? I picked up the phone and I called Lysandra. I'm like, did you get the email? Let's talk about this. Do you believe
No,
it? Like,
I didn't.
so, I mean, it was shocking, I think, to all of us to some degree. We were like, wow. But it wasn't panic. What I've heard is a mass hysteria, the sky is falling, Chicken Little type stuff. Not once until I sat down and did it, and then was made fun of for doing it, but I'm not going to go there. Not once until I sat down and did it did I hear anybody say, let's look at the numbers. How does this really affect it? Every single person on Whatnot has data that's there from the shows they've run that they can look at and compare, do a projection, and totally understand if this is going to hurt them or not. And I did not hear one person doing that. I heard all these assumptions. I heard, everything is going to go wrong and this, that, and the other thing. And that was my kind of whole point after the first few hours is I'm going to actually look at numbers. So that's what I did in my show. We looked at numbers. Bottom line for my business, now I focus, the majority of the stuff I sell is between that 1 and 5 pounds. There's some over, there's some under. The majority hits between the 1 and 5. For that model of business, I'm going to save money on this compared to shipping that I've already done. I'm going to keep evaluating it week after week as we go on. I'm going to look at it, make sure that my initial assumptions are correct, that my initial projections are correct. But all the points, I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts. That whole free box thing, don't get me going. I went on a rant, nonstop rant about those free boxes thing. Tell me a business. I just got to ask y'all. Tell me a bit, besides a nonprofit, besides a not-for-profit business, tell me a business that survives with their hand out asking for free stuff. It doesn't happen. So why in the heck do you think you should, on Whatnot, put your hand out and ask somebody for free boxes? And if you're going to drive around from Dollar General to Dollar General for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to get $20 worth of free boxes, wouldn't you be better off having your own dang show, making enough money to buy your own boxes? I just went off. I know I just went off, but they got me. That comment gets under my skin so dang bad. It's just like, what are people thinking? So,
I'm not going to lie. I went online to look at brown boxes because that's not what I typically buy for what we sell and whatnot. And I was like, geez.
Yeah, but to buy them, you went to compare prices. You went to look and say, okay,
I did.
What's going to happen?
I didn't freak out. The sky's not falling. I know. I mean, the smaller categories are going to get hurt if you do max shipping. I figure what it looks like for us in a typical jewelry show, we're going to pay about $22 more in a show, which is still well under my percentage threshold of our sales that I like to be under. Now you guys know, but we're talking about getting in clothes. I specifically do not sell breakables or large items, but that's going to be an interesting one to kind of look into.
Yeah, we'll have no data to go and do the close, so we're just going to start it with new.
Yeah.
What's that?
It won't matter. And that's
No.
one of the things that I was I would go back to is when you get yourself stuck in a certain value proposition that was being provided by whatnot that we all knew. That's my thing I always go back to. We all knew that that was not staying. So if you decided to ingrain your business into that 921 sweet spot, you were pretty much setting if you didn't have some type of contingency plan, knowing what you were going to pivot to the day that it came, then you just weren't doing what you needed to run a successful business, in my opinion, again, because it's just not possible that was sustainable to charge 921 for flat rate shipping boxes when you look at the price difference. They didn't have some great contract that no one else out there, if that was a contractual agreement between an entity and the post office, which I don't think it was, because if it was, other platforms that are much bigger than Whatnot would have had something very similar or better. So that led me to understand that that's not going to be the case. So squeezing yourself into that little tiny defined area was a mistake to begin with. But why I'm saying all this is the perfect example is like you get to start anew, and that's the way some of these people now have to put themselves in the shoes of, now I'm kind of starting anew because my entire business model was where I made a large, the money I made was contingent on those cheaper shipping prices.
Yeah.
But again, I'm talking about it from the perspective of the sky is falling. When you sit down again and do the numbers, that 1 to 5 pound range that requires you, if the numbers are accurate that they put out, you are getting a discount well above and beyond what the boxes are going to cost you.
Absolutely.
The discount you get it for that range. Outside of that, the 1 to 5 pound, that's where the gray area comes in. But you know where I stand on that. I believe with pretty much certainty that there's going to be other options like there is on every other platform to ship through other shipping entities like FedEx and UPS in order to bring down those commercial base rates that they were talking about needing to be used if you're going to stick with the post office.
Yeah.
So the one pushback that I kept getting at the Detroit meetup that we just got back from was for sellers that don't max their shipping and do buyer pays all. Their point is well, it's no savings to me, but now I have this additional expense of a box.
But there's no savings to them.
So
they
they're
have an additional expense to a box.
Yeah, because for someone that maxes their shipping, like Tracy and you do free shipping and we max our shipping pretty low, there is a savings there for us. Well, not on the jewelry really.
Not really.
But if you sell larger items, like consistently hit that 1 to 5 pounds, you're saving maybe possibly up to $2 per box. Oh, I see the hand. But what was getting hit back with me is, well, I don't max ship, so there's no savings to me. My customers were already paying all the shipping, so it's great. They're saving money, but now it's costing me an additional $1 per order.
So your saving money isn't a positive attribute.
The fallacy in that thinking is that I'm not technically saving money. It's not like I'm buying a $10 product and using a coupon and saving money off my $10 product. The savings is me spending less on behalf of my buyers. So in my comparison I did, instead of spending $334 in shipping last week, I would have spent $130 less. I'm not saving money. I'm spending less on my portion of shipping. So God forbid, those of you who are doing buyer pays all, that you might have to put out $1 per box. I do not feel bad for you one little bit. I think that's such fallacy in the thinking is you should have to buy shipping supplies to support your online business.
It's also the binary thought. It's the binary thought trap that they're falling into as well, because the discounted value, if they sell the fact that everyone has cheaper shipping now on the buyer end, just maybe the the people will be willing to bid another increment or two on the merchandise, or
Maybe.
they're going to pick up the initial sale of the price.
Maybe.
So now, if they point out the totality of their first buy or just any buy, hey, you're actually saving in comparison to before, a couple, a buck, $2, $3, depending on where you're at. You see it on the screen. That is a sales opportunity. And if you actually embrace it and let everybody else succumb to the frustration of, heaven forbid, my customers save a buck or two at my expense, like Tracy's saying, you have a huge leverage and winnable direction you can go in comparison to others. But my argument, it boils down to, once you realize, here's what I would suggest. Everyone that's in this sky is falling situation that has that argument, sell that attribute. And then once you realize you're making just as much or more after, then you'll realize why discounted shipping is valuable in the first place.
Exactly. And on the discounted the discounted shipping. The people who are buyer pays all shipping people, and they're complaining about buying a box. And the other thing we're hearing from the same group of people who are buyer pays all is, well, my buyers aren't going to buy as much. Now there's no, flat rate at $9.21 for 70 pounds. My buyers won't buy as much. Are you not the exact same people who say if they want it, they will pay shipping for it? The exact same group of people.
I like the head nod on now.
Yes. Because this is the
you but it doesn't.
You're getting me
yes,
wrong.
you're 100% correct, Tracy. But at the same time, I don't understand the art, because the 1 to 5 pound attribute is cheaper.
Exactly.
Than what's the flat rate.
But they're saying because normally they can fit up to, in a flat rate, they can go up to 70 pounds. So particularly people who utilize flat rate, they're like, well, if they go to 7 pounds or 8 pounds, now it's going to cost more. It may still be around the 9, but you see what I'm saying? They can't go to 70 pounds for the one price.
I'm curious, what are the people selling that they're requiring the flat rate? Are they selling like 30 paperweights to somebody and need the flat rate box?
I think it's a lot of clothing. I have a feeling it's a lot of clothing. Maybe cards if they're ordering large amounts.
So, Lysandra, you talked to these people that you said that was the biggest pushback. What category were they selling in?
A couple of them were pallet pools. One of them was clothing.
So the pallet pool attribute, they're better. The attribute we're talking about, and then clothing, the same thing. Like, so you get a brown box, and the shipping is cheaper for your buyer, but you don't have the necessity to use the flat rates. You can use a brown box, and it's still.
I will go back to our health and beauty days, where at the current shipping method, we would have people buy large amounts of product, right?
I easily sent out 20-pound flat rate boxes of health and beauty.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, we would compare the costs of putting those, and this is going to hurt this conversation just a touch, but it gives some merit to the concern. But it doesn't matter, because it is what it is. You're welcome, Jeremy. But we would compare the cost. If someone bought 50 health and beauty items, we would put it in one box and compare that ground cost, and
sometimes 2 boxes
or 2 boxes, and then break it up and put it into flat rate boxes. And almost exclusively, the flat rate cost was more cost effective for those orders. So I could see that being some sort of concern, that the rates are going to be different, and over 5 pounds it now has to ship ground. It could definitely cost more to ship for the seller. However, it's just the cost of doing business at this point.
Crystal, that's my main concern with it. And the only thing I can come up with is possibly taking the hit on under a pound and doing one, averaging on my weights at 1 ounce. I have a question for you guys, because I feel like I might be reading it differently, but on the 1 to 5 pounds, where it's on the little chart they give, it says 1 to 5 pounds starts at $7.20, which to me It's going to change price by where it's going and where it's coming from, the distance and the zone. But it could also change by whether it's 1, 2, or 5 pounds. How did you guys take that 1 to 5 pounds, and that starts at $7.20?
I need to go back and read it. I took it as 1 to 5 pounds is $7.20. But now that you've said that, I want to go back and read it again.
It says starts at $7.20.
Well, that has to be zone rates then. It has to be zone rates.
Yes, over 5 pounds for sure is zoned. It says most will pay $7.20, meaning the 48 U.S. states. Suggest repeating the question before answering if it's not obvious for people. Yes, Millicent, we'll do that. Yeah, I'm trying to look it up right now
What
too.
you'll usually pay.
Yeah, it's not starts.
It's what you'll usually pay.
They're CYA for exceptions.
Yeah,
For
gotcha.
Yeah.
Hawaii, Alaska. I mean, they're gonna give you some
Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which,
so
the way
I'm
I read
reading
it
it wrong.
Yeah, the way I read it was the same as Tracy, with there being some exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
But as a general rule, the 1 to 5 pounds in a brown box or in a Tyvek bag is going to. And let's just talk about that simple aspect. People freaking out about boxes. Tyvek bag for clothing costs like 10 cents when you buy it in bulk, or less, or give or take the size. And you can accomplish the exact same thing as what you put into a 12 by 12 or a 10 by 10 brown box. So, you just need to make some changes. And is 10 cents that much of a expense to you to give your customers a potential $2 to $3 discount on their shipping? No, it's not. Again, a very leverageable value that you can provide and sell to your customers. And that's just what we're thinking of off the top of our head while we're talking. There's so many other things on the back end that could be employed in order to capitalize on the opportunity that this chaos actually presents.
And me personally, I'm going to just throw this out there. Doesn't matter what the change is. We, as sellers in the Whatnot playground, cannot control those changes. So why don't we, instead of freaking out at the beginning, go through and see what the difference is, and see, are there changes we can make to our business to accommodate that and survive it? If it really does put a detrimental hurt to our existing method of business, how can we change and adapt to make it work for us? No one knows until day one, and you put it into practice. No one knows how much it's going to impact you or not impact you. I say no one. Tracy's already ran the numbers based on her last shows, and Lysandra's looked at the numbers based on her last shows. But you don't really know what it is or isn't going to do to your bottom line until it's in place. Yeah,
and we also don't know what other, like I was saying, other opportunities and options are going to be presented by Whatnot.
100%
coming down the line. I already know it's going to cost, if those numbers are right, the uptick in the under 1 pound range, that's going to hurt me. Absolutely, it's going to cost me. Some of my shows is going to cost me substantial amount more in order to pay for that, because I do free shipping. Do I care? Not at all.
That was one of the first things I noticed when we went back on to eBay last month and started listing, is that their first class shipping was considerably more than Whatnot's.
Yep.
And
now it's going to be right.
I guess it was just coincidence that Whatnot just changed theirs, and now it's pretty on par. Although I think eBay just went up to like minimum of $675.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't look at it. I don't care.
I want to tie this back to our main topic too. Not that I want to go back to that topic, but the fact that people are not taking the time to actually build their business, understand the financial implications, put money aside, like do all these smart business practices. a change like this comes around, and that's where we get the sky is falling, where if you've spent the time and built your business properly, you have a little money in the bank, you have a little bit of data behind you, you can stop and think logically about this and be proactive instead of reactive, and instead of freaking out. The other side of this is too, I think a lot of what we're hearing, a lot of the sky is falling or the complaints or the opposition to this are from sellers who are nickel and diming it at Walmart, buying one box at a time or 3 boxes at a time. Think bigger. Think about your business and purchase in bulk. Think of how you can make the smartest purchasing decisions for the most return. So you've got to change your thinking as a business owner from the get-go all the way through to be prepared for when things like this happen.
This goes back to not depending on your money from show to show and not needing that instant payout.
Yeah.
Right? I've heard lots of people talk about, actually push back on me on some of my ship shows, but yeah, you buy your shipping supplies in bulk. Heck yes, I do, because they're considerably cheaper when I buy them in bulk, and I buy 200 boxes at a time or more.
No, well,
I want to go to custom printed boxes and for more of a branding. And if I do that to keep the cost close to what it would for a plain brown box, I'm gonna have to order like 4,000 boxes at a time.
Yes, you have to order a ton. We've explored that. We've explored that and decided not to do it because we've shifted our business model enough to where the larger sizes that we would have ordered, or I'm glad I didn't, are sitting up in our,
yeah, you're not using them now.
Yeah, you're not using them now because we shifted because of other changes.
Well, the smaller boxes are even closer to start with.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need nearly as many to get down to the price of the smaller, 6x6x6 boxes.
Noel, if there is one tech issue in the next 8.5 minutes of this podcast, I'm blaming you and having Tracy take away your keyboard. Just one.
I just want to.
Anyway.
I just want to clarify a quick point I made at the beginning. I was very heated. I'm not against reusing boxes. Amazon, I order from them all the time. I get stuff in my house. I reuse boxes if they're of the quality to do so. I just think it is people's better use. Your time is better spent making money than it is chasing a free dollar. Put your time to use on doing a show versus driving around trying to dumpster dive for free boxes. I just don't think that's a good use of time.
You're basically saying in that time, just to simplify it, but to save $1 on a box, you could have made $5 in sales in the same allotted amount of time per unit of time.
Hey, look, I am a cheapskate at heart, and if I'm going out somewhere and I'm at a Dollar General for milk, and if it takes me a little bit of time to talk to them and say, hey, you guys have any boxes? Can I take some boxes? I'll do it. I'm not making a business practice out of going and getting them. But if I'm somewhere, if I'm coming to Pennsylvania for X and I want to go and make it more profitable for Y, I will stop for Y as well. Same with boxes. But I'm not going to go spend my whole day hitting $19 Generals trying to get free boxes.
Yeah.
If I'm going there, and I could grab some, 100%. Will I go to Kroger and buy something, but ask them for their banana boxes because I love the banana boxes and we use them regularly? 100%. I'll take them.
I've just heard whole shows of nothing but 40-minute conversations of how to go get free boxes. I'm like, come on, let's just focus our business efforts in a way that's a little more beneficial to you.
I will say this though, if there are cases where someone could go find another business that has an excess of boxes that it could be very beneficial to both of them. I would say before Whatnot, our grocery store would have been one of those. I didn't have a box muncher until 8 months ago. And one of the reasons we got that is because we had so many freaking boxes. We were filling 2 cardboard dumpsters up every single week and overfilling them. I would have been happy to have 5 Whatnot sellers come in and I still would have broken them down because of space, but
yeah, I could have given 5 people a pallet of boxes every single week.
Yeah. So I can understand, and if I don't think there's anything wrong with going and trying to find free boxes, and at least trying to build a relationship with another business. Not so much you're scrambling around trying to find boxes every single week, because then you're just turning a hamster wheel that you'll never get off of. And then it makes it, and I, at the end of the day, I do agree with you, Tracy. Just go on a little bit longer, sell a little bit more, make a little bit more money, and buy your damn boxes.
It's just not a sustainable. I just look at it as a sustainable business practice. Relying on
Yeah.
other businesses to
Awesome.
help as a source of supply for your business, a free sort like free supplies, that's not sustainable. That's not a business model to build upon. I
Maybe
got a
not for the
question.
masses. There are exceptions. There's 100% exceptions. Like Sassy
There's
just put
an
in there
exception to
that
everything. Yes.
Sassy just put in there that the place where she's getting them from has to pay to dispose of them. So they're more than happy to give her masses of boxes. And if that's all you need for your business, fantastic. If that helps your growth, then you don't have to put any money out. Look at you. You're saving that much expense on your supplies. There's exceptions.
Yeah, I think that what this comes down to is the application of the direction you go in order to acquire the boxes. If it is monetarily beneficial to your business model to buy them in bulk, like it is for us, because it doesn't pay me to go driving around. But if you're a smaller business and you can make an arrangement with one location,
Correct.
the time I spend to do the ordering, if you're like let's say you're at my warehouse and there's a Wise Market, which there is a grocery
Yes,
store
that's
right near
lovely.
us. If all I had to do is when I go over there for lunch, pick up, drive over there and pick up all the boxes that I would need for a week, then of course that's a sound business decision.
Yep.
But if you're deciding to get all panicky and go, I'm not getting free boxes anymore, I'm going to go spend a day driving around to pick up boxes because you are wasting time. That is not the efficient
Yes.
way of doing it. It's the
Correct.
efficiency attributes that we're kind of squabbling about here.
Yes.
And that's what you have to look
Correct.
at. Are what you're doing efficient for the size of your business and the direction you're trying to go? That's what you need to stop, take an evaluation of, and then determine how to proceed from there.
100%.
And you might find that what you were doing is not actually efficient for your time. You might say, okay, this makes the most sound sense. I'm going to go over here and drive to these 3 locations and pick up, and find out that it takes you a lot longer and you're not getting exactly what you need, and you end up needing to order stopgap stuff anyway. So you're doubling up on time and realize, hey, I could have been doing so much more, shipping items out. I could have been selling items, like your resources could have been allotted elsewhere that would have been more beneficial to you to then just order in bulk from an online source.
And I know Tracy is going to disagree with me on this.
Uh-oh.
Evaluate your time. Even if you're not paying yourself yet, there should be, I would like to pay myself such and such amount per hour. Is you driving around for boxes equating to that, or is it better to than just order the boxes and pay for them?
I totally agree with you. I think looking at the value of your time, the part where I know why you say that I would disagree. I disagree when it comes to pricing your items. That's where I don't think your time has anything to do with the price of your items. But valuing your time. This is the exact reason I'm not going to drive around. My time is better spent spending an hour selling stuff and making money than it is driving looking for free boxes. That's going to be far more beneficial to me than trying to save, get 10 free boxes. I got a question. Stay Home to Shop says the only problem is that every hour of live selling creates 4 hours of additional work, according to research by Custom Wood Burning. By the way, I highly respect Custom Wood Burning and her chat shows, 100%. But why is that a problem? I'm just curious why that would be a problem.
I also don't agree with those numbers.
And is it completely accurate? Because I'm going to tell you now that I don't think every hour is 4 hours for us. And it may vary. She does a lot of
custom wood burning is handmade.
Handmade,
so very much so for her. It could definitely be
100%. But I think that number is going to be arbitrary based on what type of business you're running. I know if you're just looking at Lysandra and I, we know that an hour of show is an hour of shipping, and I don't prepare necessarily for a show. So how much extra time is there besides that?
Well, the jewelry shows we do.
I mean,
But we're going towards a place of not doing all that prep work.
Yes.
And this new category we're talking about going in, one of the big caveats is there's no prep work.
There's no prep work, right? So
my view on that, that's pretty much a outlier in that perspective, because people that are running 6 and 8 hour shows, let's just say 6 hours, are not spending 24 hours to get the work of work in order to accomplish. If they were, these people that are running would have such a backlog, or they would have to have such a load of employees, but the time would still be there. Like, 2 employees working 8 hours is 16 hours worth of a workload. It would have to be huge in order to accommodate and reach what's necessary. So there was not 24 hours of time being spent on my 6 hour shows.
So Tracy, on your end, because you do run a different business model than we do, what is an average time spent per hour of live for you outside of this show?
Usually at least 2 hours for, let's say more. Let's say about 2.5 to 3 hours for every hour of selling is ship time. Easy.
Just ship time.
Just shipping?
Or just everything afterward. Okay.
Everything afterwards, from like packaging it up, wrapping it up, putting it in boxes, weighing it, taking it to the post office.
And then add sourcing to that. You probably
sourcing
are
on top of it. Oh yeah, sourcing and cleaning items, because I generally there are a lot of my items I do need to clean. I'll get higher value when they're clean on certain things. So some stuff I clean, some I don't. But
so 20% of your total time is just show, and 80% is outside of show.
Oh gosh, my show time is the most minimal thing I do. My selling time is probably the least. If I looked at sourcing, marketing, all of that, my show, I only run like an hour and a half, 2 hour shows. So when we're talking about the selling shows, chat shows, if I take those out of the equation, because those aren't really selling, there's no packing to do for those.
Stay at home, I did. That's why I said my employees are not. Stay at home asked me if I've compared my stream time to your total work week hours with employees. Yeah, I have. And my employees, because of the efficiencies I built into the shipping time, have been instructed to take their time, more time than they need to accomplish what's necessary. And I don't even come close to 4 hours.
So what's your employee time to show time, Jeremy?
What's that?
What is your employee workload outside of the show compared to 1 hour of show time?
The employee workload?
Yeah.
Outside of the show.
Like when I'm done with a show that took me
5 hours to run, how long is that going to take?
It was 5 hours. I have 2 people that I would say, if they were running at without me telling them to slow down, it would probably be hour to hour, 1 hour time. So in other words, they would have it done in, if I did 6 hours, they would have it done in 3 hours or less. Actually, at this point, it's actually way lower. And then my personal sourcing time, because I buy in bulk. This stuff comes to me because of the way I set it up. So I'm not going out except for on my Sundays, and I go out. And if I decided to cut that time shorter, I could. Like this Sunday, I did my chat show. I left here at probably close to 11 o'clock, and I was back home by around 2. And I bought $12,000 worth of merchandise.
Which will carry you for how many shows?
Which will not even one.
Gotcha.
No, well, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. That's not true. That pile will be dispersed because of the way what it is, the stuff that I bought. So it's kind of an exception to the norm. So it was more my anchor type of merchandise, because I have a nice cushion because of the estate that I'm dealing with. So what we're talking about, I'm in an exception to the rules situation right now because of the estate I bought. I have a big backlog of merchandise. So that stuff will be attributed a little differently what I bought today. In full transparency, I went up to that in order to give my sources their cards that I made for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into that. It was more of a social enjoyment type of trip today, but usually I'm dropping on those days in that amount of time $20 to $30,000.
Oh, I don't care about the dollar value. I'm talking
And
about how much time are you spending on Sundays going to secure the sources,
yeah,
the
and that's what I'm
inventory,
saying. And
and how many shows does that carry you all
that
along?
amount of inventory is going to last. Let's see here. It would be probably five plus shows, 6 shows on a usual run.
The 3 to 5 hours is going to carry you 30 hours of showtime.
Right? Yeah, guess. Yeah.
And
I'm just using off the top of my head. I haven't
Yeah,
sat down and really done it. All I'm saying is I'm nowhere near 4 hours worth of
for every hour.
time for every
Yeah.
hour.
And that's what I was trying to get at. I was just trying to get at a number to
Yeah.
compare you,
And the
to
reason
compare
I'm
to
using
us,
the
to
dollar
compare to
amount,
Tracy.
is because my shows, I pay attention to it in increments of,
yeah,
my goals are set at certain dollar amounts. Yes, we're 5 minutes
it's
over.
okay, but
I know,
I've got to
sorry.
say something. Can I get it? I got to
Say
get a
it.
final thought in
Go
here.
ahead.
2 things. One, I'm doing the math as you're speaking, Tony. I do an average of 10 hours a week of showtime, not counting podcast. So about 10 hours a
Yep.
week of showtime. And I probably spend 30 to 40 hours a week of total whatnot time. So a third to a quarter's in that ballpark
So
is
your numbers are
showtime.
that.
That is your
Pardon?
numbers then.
I'm sorry.
4 to 1. That is your,
Yeah.
he said that is your
Yes,
numbers.
that is my numbers.
Yeah.
The other
Wow.
thing I just want to make a point. Stay home to shop. It is cool if you have chosen that the best thing for your business is to drive around and get free boxes. You say that you're a free box addict and you save $1,300 in your first year. I look at that, and the way my mind works for my business is I can do a 2 hour show, make $1,300, ship for 6 hours, and I have just done in 8 hours what you have spent, I'm sure, far more than 8 hours in a year doing. So that's the way my mind
And
works in that.
And I want to highlight Sherry's comment about standard supply of boxes saves time and shipping. And
It does.
to expand on that, what she's talking about is standard sizes.
You're not
Yes.
trying to
So
Frankenstein boxes.
one of the things I'm looking at is we're going away from this priority shipping and being able to use those standard size boxes. Is I want to figure out 2 box sizes that I use the most. And that's what we're going to start using our shipping around and train to use our shipping around, because Frankensteining boxes, cutting boxes, storing different size boxes, and then trying to find the right size box all take time and create inefficiencies in your shipping time,
Yep.
which goes back into the 4 hours to 1.
Yes.
And
That's
all
insane.
this boils down to what you can save $1,000, you can save $3,000, but time is your best and most valuable resource in life and in business. It's the compounding in life and in business. The more time you have to yourself, statistically speaking, the longer you live, which adds more value to you. And the more time you have in business, the more money you can make. So anywhere you can save the time and attribute the newfound time towards making money, that just makes more money for you. It's compounding.
Yeah.
So if you spent a ton of time, like Tracy was saying, to go get free boxes, you spend a ton of front end, very, very valuable resources to your business to make to try to save a few dollars in comparison to what you could have made with that time.
So let me just throw a quick final thought out, unless someone has a true final thought, because we are over our time and I'm not mad at that.
Hit the like button.
Yep. Well, that wasn't my thought. Stay home. You know we love you. You are fantastic, and I'm not trying to call you out in any negative manner. What I would challenge you is purchase boxes, see what that does to your bottom line in the show, while saving you the amount of time that you spend outsourcing boxes, and see if that's a viable business option for you. That's all. I would throw that challenge out to you, because it may actually grow your business better, because you have more free time for selling, for running your shows at the Goodwills, just in general. You may actually come out ahead with a little bit of investment. And if I'm totally off base, you can say, Tony, you're completely wrong. And I'm totally fine with that. But I would challenge you to check it out. on
Yeah.
that, does anybody have any other final words to say? But we should end this.
Yeah, let's look at it also from personal lifetime. Like, think about spending those few extra dollars, how much money you spend in order to enjoy your own personal time.
100%.
Just don't discount that attribute's there, that you could spend a few extra dollars on boxes. This applies to so many other things, but since we're in this context, how much has that few extra dollars been worth for you to have all that time to yourself to do other enjoyable things that aren't tied to business, which
Or maybe
we work our butts off to enjoy, you know.
I was gonna say,
that
or
work.
maybe the enjoyable part is the business, but you're right.
Stay home. A rubber stamp and some ink would be cheaper.
Please, please, please. 24, 25 of you in here, press the like button, hit the subscribe button, and come back next week for us.
Longest shit ever on Reselling Roundtable.
Oh my gosh.
Is it? We hit the record.
I do believe we have. I think we've only ever went 5 minutes over.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Catch you all later.
See you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.